Can your mother be your best friend? Contentious. Ini isu sensitif ni.
It's true, when you put two ladies together, then I reserve my comments on Mother's Day.
It's Mother's Day special. If I may, you can cut this out if you don't want to, but I think we gotta let's keep it real, like what Douglas Slim said, keep it real here. So I think recently there were some arguments, there were some tensions that happened between our beloved Rooney and Mum, and these things happen. Let's face it. Every family has their issues. There's arguments sometimes, even no matter how close you are, it happens. So I want to bring about this topic. Can your mother be your best friend? Contentious. Ini isu sensitif ni.
I want to ask Mother's Day from Sheree.
I guess the question is both can and should.
Should, no lah. Can, why? Cannot, why? Should, why? Shouldn't, why?
Okay. Because if the answer is can mother and daughter be best friends, I think the answer is definitely yes. I think our relationship was a testament to that. You can definitely be best friends. Whether it's sustainable and whether that's healthy and to what extent you can be best friends, that's the challenge lah.
But why only daughter and mother, son and mother cannot?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was waiting for you to ask this question. Thank God you asked it. Good.
And I think mother and son being best friend not as problematic as daughter and mom.
So you're saying that when you put two women together, very hard, is it? Sexist, huh?
In a way, yes. Then daddy can join in already. Why mother?
Yeah, I think it's true. It's true, when you put two ladies together, then I reserve my comments on Mother's Day.
No, I fail to see how is it or maybe it is. Maybe it's I'm trying to see which part of that problem relates to a gender thing. Perhaps because women are more emotional. That we have to accept. That's a fact. Our hormone levels are different. We go through phases that not that men are not emotional as well.
And also, women are more sensitive. Guys are not as sensitive in a way that they can see the body language, they can feel certain things, pay the attention to that detailed attention. Somehow I find that women is a different species altogether. They are somehow more emotional, of course loving. They are, at the same time, they are also more sensitive than guys relatively. I mean, it goes across the board lah. I don't think anyone would disagree on that. In terms of sensitivity, in terms of,
In general,
as a guy?
In general, yes.
As a guy, I know I'm not usually the politically correct guy, but I don't think that's a fair statement. Because I used to think that women are more sensitive, and I don't think so. I don't think it's a gender thing. But I agree that women are somehow, because genetically, they have certain tendencies.
So there's a reason for
correct, like how they nurse their children and everything. So there's a more they are more emotionally intelligent. I would say, give credit when it's due on Mother's Day and not on Mother's Day also. That women are more emotionally intelligent. Like what you said, they catch body language, they catch things easily. But to the extreme end is they can be a bit more sensitive, maybe because they catch things and read things. And sometimes not all the time when they read things that is correct. It could be exaggerated because of emotions. And I think that could be a hormonal genetic thing sometimes, maybe. But I think nowadays, men are also very sensitive, don't you think?
I don't disagree that this is only a general statement. Of course, there are some men or some guys who are extra sensitive, more sensitive than ladies too. But on a general thing, because when a guy says yes is yes, no is no. So, but for the lady, the lady say yes is yes, no can also be a yes. So you don't really know what is you see a few series of Haris Iskandar one, the comedy, right? I mean, there's reality of situation. When a lady says certain things, it will mean certain things.
But then again, we have to always keep it generally speaking, because they are
definitely.
Yeah, I'm a good example.
Go back to the movie. You see, man, the lady who helped the family, and the mother are more rational than the father, right?
No, it's all because of ego. So let me just put it at men have a lot of ego. That is a generalized statement, but it's true, and that's what's driving all these stupid wars, right? Putin and all these nonsense people. And I know people say that like what I wanted to say just now. You say that if women are more sensitive and everything, but you also say that if your mom always say that if the whole global leaders are all women, how nice it would be. Might not be a correct answer, might not be true. Because if you put a bunch of women there, I don't know if it's gonna be more peaceful. Men, we know the problem because men have a lot of ego. So because of the ego, they wage wars and all that, also driven by that. That's true. But women might not be entirely correct thing. But of course, there are really great women leaders like Jacinda. I mean, sort of, more respected Jacinda Ardern, and some other.
True lah, true. I would tend to agree with you lah. If you have a few world leaders and a few guy leaders, etc., then maybe more peaceful lah. But if everybody's all a lady, then I don't know. It's a different it's a different thing altogether, I suppose.
We always need diversity and then moderation.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think let's get back to the original question. Let's just focus. Don't talk about son and mother best friends first, or son and father, whatever. Let's just talk about, can a mom be your best friend?
She said,
From
"Can."
your perspective, she said can. What do you think, mom? sorry, sorry, joking. Good, deep thoughts.
Not necessarily good, you know. Of course,
Okay.
it's good you can be a best friend, but actually, why you say we got problem? What problem was that? I cannot remember. Why you say we got problem? Big problem.
Okay.
What's the problem again? What's the problem statement now?
I don't know. I just recently, that's a very
Okay.
good question because I recently listened to this quote where it says a problem well defined is a problem half solved, and that's very true because sometimes you really don't know what's the problem. We can have quarrels or war for a period of time where you don't know what that problem actually is. But I think just to set the scene, when we say best, because like mom and I, for the audience of benefit lah, just to, because the context is important to lead to our problem, if we have one. We used to, or we are often, since we grew up, we're best friends. You're the person that I go to for every problem I have under the sun, whether it's a problem, not a problem. You're a person that I go to. We travel together. There was one incident. Sorry, Coco, bear with me. There was one event that I that's always vividly in my mind, and I think that it encapsulates our relationship, because when we were in university. When I was in university, I would call mom very, very often. We'll talk on the phone, sometimes hours on end, and for days, we can have like every other day we can have an hour conversation over the phone. On one day when I came back, and this was at the back of us, again, we were catching up very consistently, hours and all. And when I came back, when I reached Penang, you picked me up and we needed to go straight to the hospital because Gong Gong had the transfusion thing. So Gong Gong was in daycare for his transfusion. And then both of us were seated next to his bed. We're doing the same catch up as we did the day before, but this time I'm physically there. And then we were talking. And I think we talked for non-stop for a good 3 to 4 hours until a nurse came by and she was wondering, Anak, I said, yeah. Then I thought she came to complain because she thought we were a bit too noisy. It's a hospital. It's Gong Gong is doing a transfusion and all that. But in fact, what she wanted to point out was like, oh, I think I don't know what her exact words were, but she was essentially saying, oh, what a sweet sort of relationship that you have, that you're just talking endlessly for hours.
That's not a problem.
That's not the problem.
So what was our problem?
No, I'm trying to set a scene as to the closeness that we have.
Okay.
And then we traveled together, we went to Nepal together, we go trekking together, we backpack and all that.
I don't think that was a problem, but there was a time whereby there was some frequency mismatch, a lack of a better word, a frequency mismatch. Then the relationship was rather tense or rather challenged. I'm sugarcoating the words lah.
This is just a light nonsense stuff. Can I just add it in, Rooney? If you can maintain your stream of thought, hold it there. Just, you set your scene already, that you were close to mom, that you could speak and everything. This was in back a few years ago, like in uni and all. Let me just bring you back to the present moment. What happens between me and mom? Okay?
Me and you also got problem.
No problem. For the past few weeks, actually since I come to UK, I call my mom voluntarily every day almost. And the problem now is that it's not.
You stop and you
stop, correct?
Stop and
Okay. No, I show concern. I see whether mom is okay, if she's having any reflux and anything. I just want to see on the camera, like, what is she doing? Then I call her every morning without fail, religiously. And then what happens is that I'm trying to talk to her, but she will say, don't you have to go to work? Go lah. And she doesn't want to talk to me. And I'm trying to talk about how can I get my mom to want to talk to me. a 30 plus year old son who really loves the mom. So maybe it should be not only Mother's Day but also Son's Day as well. To show joy. Anyway, let's get back to your original stream of thought. So the setting here is that my mom nowadays doesn't want to talk to me. Okay? Okay, yeah, continue, Rooney.
Continue.
No, so the difference is also this.
Not to whine, talk, Okay, continue.
You sure?
No, okay, continue.
So that was years ago when I was in university. So that
Okay.
was an important point to make because the problem lies in the change of dynamic in the relationship. Because we used to be that close. I have no filters with mom. Every day I come back, whatever I have in my mind, I'll split it out and then I'll process it with mom. I'll share it with mom. And I'm not sure whether it was a good thing at the time. And then you will share things like your existential crisis with me as well, whole family, your issues with the siblings and all that. You will share with me. And what I really appreciated was existential crisis, which is something that not alone. Why am I here? What am I doing? What should I do? And a lot of things. And I just recently had a chat with a very close friend, and she was sharing me how she also has a very close relationship with her mom, both she and her sister. And sometimes they worry about the mom because the mom's very reserved and it takes a lot more questioning and trying to speak to her to sort of reel her in and then get her to share more. So they get a bit concerned. Or if mom, at least in the past, mom would share with me, mom would be very, very open with her struggles, whether even challenges in marriage, she'll be very open with me. And I get a very, even at a younger age, I get a very, very realistic, very practical insight into adult challenges, adult struggles.
I don't know whether it's good or not. Then it scare you off to get married.
But things then took a turn when I started. I think it started when I started working.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
When I started working, then there's a lot more work stress and that I was dealing with, and relationship.
Yes.
Relationship is, I guess it's also a key thing, because when I got into a relationship then and also now, obviously there will be time that you invest in your relationship, and your partner would also be a person you go to and then you share with them your day, your struggle and all that. So when all of that happened, I was less close with mom. I shared less with her. But I think to me, relationship is one, but more so, that I've always been that sort of person who, when I have problems, I rather stay away from you. I don't want you to see me going through the stress. I want you to see me after I'm done. After I'm done, I'll share everything with you. From the start, I'll tell you what the struggles I was going through. But in that process, I don't like you to have visibility of it.
Why?
Because I feel like we all are so close that I can imagine if I'm struggling with something, if I'm hurting for some reason, I feel like that hurt will transfer to you. You will feel it yourself. You will feel stressed. You will feel hurt. You will feel sad for me.
Isn't that my responsibility?
No.
Nope.
Part of my responsibility?
Nope.
No, I can understand that you want, because your natural parental instinct is you want to try and help. You want to try to save your child or relieve them from whatever stress, relieve them from whatever sadness they are experiencing. But
yeah. Last time I cannot handle that, but now I can handle. You can tell me, okay, now I can summarize it to 3. My problem that we cannot be her best friends for 3 reasons. Okay.
So the summary was my catchword.
So first of all, so the only thing that I can do is either I don't want you to tell me, or you tell me, but I don't want to show that I'm worried, or even really I'm not worried at all. Okay. Secondly, it's true, your work stress. So you don't want to tell me again because you don't want me to worry. Then the third one is unavoidable one. That one cannot escape, really cannot escape. When you have a boyfriend, first of all, I think you realize that you tell me too much, then I have a bad impression of your boyfriend. So that's why you don't want to tell me too much. Right now. So if you don't want to tell me too much, who to tell? I mean, your work stress you can share with your boyfriend. But the boyfriend problem, if I don't tell my mom, who can I share with? But then if I tell her, then she gets bad impression of my boyfriend. How? So I must learn to just listen. Don't give opinion, so that you won't scared to tell me that it will have an implication later with your boyfriend, that I have some misunderstanding about your boyfriend. So now you can rest assured whatever you decide, like you want to move away from Malaysia, want to find job somewhere else, or you have boyfriends, you have problems with your boyfriends. So I just listen. I will not absorb, analyze, and give you feedback. I will just listen to you. So if you have work stress, you can talk to your boyfriend, but boyfriend problem you must talk to somebody, ma.
And not with friends.
I can also lah. So as parents, I learned along the way that yes, it's good that we can be best friends, but it's not sustainable. As even so, when you have a boyfriend, so I have to accept the reality. It's nothing bad about it. It's nothing bad. It's a natural way of your children growing up. So that problem is not a problem anymore.
If I may interject, so I think here's the two things about it. So you want to talk about mother's role and the best friend's role, right? So I think we have to go back to that drawing board for me. So for example, best friends. So I have best friends. You guys have best friends. We sometimes we can't tell our best friends everything, but why they are our best friends also because we know each other so much that we also have to know, like for example, like what you're saying, like sometimes Rooney doesn't go to mom for actually solid, I mean for actually not solid, for any solutions. We just want a listening ear. But mom misinterprets that as, you know what, you come to me with a problem, I have to give you a solution. Because I love you, you're my daughter. As a mother's role, sort of a paternalistic kind of view of it is that a mother's role would try to offer solutions to Rooney. But that's not what she wants. So there's a mismatch, like what that say. There's a mismatch of what I want and need versus a mismatch of what you think I want and need. So I think that, from what I see, was the main driver of the problem leading to a conflict. So like for example, relationship problems. Rooney just wants a listening ear. But at the same time, she feels conflicted that if I go to mom will worry about my relationship. Maybe she'll form negative judgments or whatever about my boyfriend. Might not be the case. Because a lot of my times, for example, me and Denise, mom knows me well. So even if I don't often, actually I rarely in fact, talk to her about my because I think me and Denise are okay lah. For most of the time we don't have much issues lah. So even if we do, mom will often take you can actually, mom has objective. She has this objectivity also, or maybe she has a tendency to defend the female side of things maybe. So she will taro me. She will whack me instead of forming a negative perception of Denise. Because she knows my weaknesses and everything, she will tell me, no, you're in the wrong. You should apologize to Denise. You should make amends, blah, blah, blah. So I think mom has that objectivity to her also.
I had a different
experience.
Slightly different experience than you did. And I don't know whether it's because by the time all this took place and by the time you already in a very committed relationship and now marriage. And
Yeah.
I think at some point I need to cut some of this out because it's people know who I am, and then
Yeah. I think that's right.
But I had a different experience because I think a lot of times I'm at that stage where, or especially before I'm in my present relationship, I was always at a stage where my partner wasn't really, you're still at a stage where we're still deciding whether the person is the right person for you or you're the right person for them, and it's relationship that could go on or could not go on. So in those situations, I think mom would be a bit more. I think there are certain phases where she goes through where certain times her advice, that's not her advice, but her underlying thought is that if he's like that, hang him or it's that mentality. But mom will obviously not adopt that sort of thinking for your relationship.
That's true.
Because
I think you bring a good point. I see what you mean. I totally agree with it. Because we're in different phases of our relationship, stability of relationship. And to be fair, mom knows Denise really well. You've been together for 10 years. And sort of, mom knows Denise through the troubles I went through and a lot of things lah. So I think mom knows Denise a lot. So she knows how she is.
A lot.
And I know knows me a lot. So I think she can have that objectivity to this. But for your case, maybe your partner and all, maybe she doesn't know him as much, of course, because you're a younger relationship than my relationship is. It's a very mature relationship already. So I think fair enough, you're right. So mom might not be able to have the objectivity. And if you do go to her too often, I think it's a valid thing that you might worry that you might form a bias. She might form a bias, which might be unfair to your partner, because when your arguments, obviously you have negative bias towards your partner.
Yeah, so
that's what you're saying.
So that was on what I wanted to highlight as well, because with what we've all said earlier, it's as if like my partner or my relationship with my partner is very problematic or not. It's not that it's obviously every relationship is you will have your struggles and all that. It's just that because last time the practice is that I just blurt everything out. So mom knows, actually that's not true also. I want to say mom knows the good and the bad, but that's not entirely true as well. I don't know. I think because I had in a past relationship, there was some not accusation, but I was being lopsided with how I presented the relationship or with how I presented the person. So in this relationship, in the present relationship, I then and it's one that I really treasure and I see a future in it. So I don't trying a different approach where I try not to share much.
much.
We just keep it in the normal. We just don't go overboard as I used to. But there are times it's only when I'm in a state where I'm really struggling or certain times where you get a bit more emotional, and it's those times that I only go to her. So it's as if her visibility into my relationship.
Correct.
It's only at the lowest moments or the most times where I'm irrational, I'm most emotional.
Because let's be frank, it's unfair to your partner because let's be frank, right? When you're having happy time, such a lovey-dovey time with your partner, you won't go and tell mom suddenly, "Oh, mom, I had such a great time last night." Okay, that's not implying any activity, but whatever it is, like say anything, what activity or anything. It could be drama, it could be watching a musical. You know what I mean? A lot of people do a lot of things at night. You know what I'm saying? So,
at night only.
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying.
I don't know where this came from. Or was it imparted to me when I was growing up at home? I don't know. I'm not saying anything, So I think you're right, Rooney. It doesn't paint the right picture and it's unfair. It causes an unfair negative bias to whoever your partner is. So that thing is a valid thing. So I totally agree with you. So you don't have to share everything with mom as your best friend, right? So that's the point you're trying to put forth. And the second thing is that if you're not sharing everything, does that mean you're not best friends? I don't share everything with all my best friends all the time. So for me, I'm still saying that you can be best friends because I don't share everything with my best friend anyway. I'm honest, I'm sincere, I'm everything with them. I don't hide anything from them, but it's not hide, There's no intention to hide. It's just that I don't share everything, right?
But the thing is, I guess with every change, there'll be adjustment. With every change, there'll be friction because you're then adjusting a different dynamic of relationship. So for us to go from being that close where mom has insight of every single thought and she can anticipate what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, how I would react to this situation, to now it's quite a
improvement.
Oh, that's a very positive word. Yes, it's got an improvement. We are trying to find a more sustainable balance for our relationship in terms of closeness, like how close you want to be, and how much you want to reveal to each other and all that.
I think I said this before to you also. I think it's all about balance, right? So it's like, it goes up and down like a seesaw. So sometimes it's too close, sometimes it's not close enough. So it's just a constant flux of readjustments that you need to do in a relationship. As per any relationship, best friends with your partner, everything, it's just a balance. So I don't think that it's not like you're trying to balance to be less close to mom as a best friend or as a mom and daughter relationship. It's not less, it's just different. I would say different. So I don't think you all should see it as, if you don't share everything with mom means that you're less close to mom. No, what? I mean, you're already super close to mom than many of the kids, many of us, not us, as in like many of our generation have that kind of relationship with their parents already, as you know, amongst everyone we know, a lot of people, as a general sense. It's already something. So I think it's just that sometimes I think the debate is, when you get too close, is it going to cause friction? Yes, I think the answer is yes, in a way. But it's not about being too close. It's just about adjusting expectations and balancing that.
Okay, agree. So no problem here.
No problem.
I don't know. No problem. It's just that, so your problem closed. It's just that my problem now, how we solve it. How do we make mom want to talk to me? How? I don't know. A lot of mom also want the son to talk to them, but my mom don't talk to me. So how lah?
Not you want you stop.
Okay, unfair, because this past week every day I never whine to you. I control myself already and I cut down my whining already. Okay, I only tell you positive stuff. I say, you know what, today is going to be a good day.
Yeah.
Correct or not?
So you never whine to me, huh?
Yeah, stressful week at work also I never whine to you. I just say, never mind, I will just take it as it is, blah blah blah. In fact, I give you motivational quotes to motivate myself.
I think in all the hindsight, I talked to Shin on this also. Mom didn't feel like talking this couple of days. So I just let her be also because Shin and I were talking about it. Then mommy don't want to talk, like no sound, no picture and everything. So I think she sometimes wants to be silent is golden. So just for information there, we talk about this also. I was wondering whether she's angry at me or what. She doesn't want to talk much.
Yeah.
You talk many words, she just ha. So she doesn't want to really talk. So I keep on asking any problem. The siblings say none. Then okay lah. I mean, she wants to be. Sometimes silence is golden, mama. Okay lah.
Yeah, I think it's good if we are frank also in relationships. I learned with the niece also. Sometimes passive aggressive is not good. Not saying mom is doing that, but she's not. It's just that when you have problems, you just say, okay, I'm unhappy with you because of this. I don't want to talk to you for next until I'm ready. Then that is good lah. That's why I was wondering also. Me and Dad was like, how come? Is it my fault? Is it your fault? Why? Why she don't want to talk?
Two of us were talking to each other whether it's each other's fault that they don't want to talk. Then we found out that it's not each other's fault. It's actually mommy. She wants to be by herself. She wants to be very quiet. So let her be.
Why
so we calibrated. No, she didn't want to talk. I don't know why.
Why you all didn't come and ask me?
No, I think you're busy. You're very busy week and everything.
You're busy lah. You're busy. So we didn't ask you lah. So it cannot be. But if I had done nothing wrong and she has done nothing wrong, then we say okay lah. Conclusion is very simple lah. She's not angry at either one of us. She just wants to be herself. Let her be lah.
No lah, are youth's problems the problem?
I thought so. It's a Yu's problem, a Jun's problem, then a Mercy's problem. So I know your whole sibling a problem. So I talked to Shireen briefly also, right? Then I asked Shireen anything. She said nothing. So then I knew that it was something about the whole sibling. Then that's why we say we let you be. You want some space, ma. Especially for me, because if whatever I say also may be wrong one. After he was, hey, what about your brother? It happens to you, your brother do you. So I don't say anything. So let her be, and then it will pass. It was passed. It indeed has passed. So good.
Because also.
But sometimes you don't want to talk. You don't have it. Daddy don't have this kind of period, right?
No. All of us, no, sorry. Our guys don't have period one. Okay? So we don't have period one, number one. Number two, there are certain times where we are too busy to talk. So I feel guilty also. Like you call me certain time, I talk to PBA, etc. Then you don't talk to you also. I feel, then PBA more important than me, man. I really every day go PBA, man. You go PBA again. You go how many times a day? So I don't want to talk about it. So nothing is more important than my family. So yes, it's true. Sometimes we want to have our own time, etc. So it's perfectly all right. So I got no problem.
So to make it clear, this Mother's Day session is not a bashing at mom's session, okay? Mom is not my mom.
Yeah.
To everyone listening, mom is not usually very moody. She rarely is moody. But when she's moody, it's kao.
Super moody.
But
you kena kao one.
Everyone is like that lah, I mean,
like
ups and downs, everything.
Yeah.
Got our issues. Good, very good Mother's Day session, I think. So everyone listening, appreciate your mom and dads,
Oh my God, Mother's Day speech.
And also mom and dads always appreciate if your children want to talk to you also, just general statement to everyone listening.
Not bashing. Then every morning you call me, this morning sun shining brightly. I'm taking a bus to work. Hello, man.
I do that because I like to just connect with you. Because every moment with my mom and dad and sister are very precious. So I try to seize every moment I can. My work is like midnight for y'all. Y'all be sleeping, so I won't get to talk to y'all. So I try to make effort to connect with y'all.
Grateful. Then call daddy also, right? More often.
No. He doesn't call me. He stalk me only.
Yeah, you ask that. I also got call him.
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
But I will see that. Hey, how come that at 10:30 p.m. he's eating something at the kitchen? Why is he eating at 10:30? So I will call him at work during lunch break. If I have time, then I ask him what is he doing.
Yeah. He called me. Yes.
But I'm telling Shireen, it's good that you push me to do editing, push me to learn.
Right.
Oh yes, this needs a special shout out. Mom is a new editor for the Why Not podcast. Very impressive, actually. The last episode that was last published, episode 5, that's fully edited by Mom.
Fully, but music not in by me lah. Music.
But you learn too. I taught you. I give you some tutorials. But sometimes at work, I mean not at work. Okay, I fully focus at work. And I will check on Mom, and then I noticed that Mom is on self-initiative. I didn't even have to remind her that it's time to learn how to audio edit. She's actually watching YouTube videos on how to do audio editing. So it got a lot of initiative credit must be given to our new audio editor, sound editor, which is Mom. And she did a good job in the previous podcast. And I think, Mom, I mean, after all, it benefited you as well. You learn a new skill, and actually, you know, it's a nice thing to have.
Very proud of you. Very, very proud.
Proud of you.
Thanks to Coco who pushed me.
Thank you. Because every time, I mean, past few weeks, it's like how you subscribe to all the Under the Sky magazine during our standard 3 to force me to read
Well,
Chinese
hey,
and learn
revenge,
Chinese. Not revenge. You wanted the best for me, good intention. Now I also want good intention for you.
It was so funny. Week 1, Cuckoo said, Mom, open your laptop. Today, all you need to do is just switch on the laptop. But Mom had like 1,000 excuses under the sun. All this, you cannot use that. There's something wrong with the laptop. And they Coco was like, Mom, today all you need to do is just to download the software.
Then the next day I said, wow, you managed to turn on your computer and download the software. Very good, Mom. Enough for today. Enough. Tomorrow, you just open the software, okay? Then the day after tomorrow, you watch some YouTube. So Mom actually exceeded what I expected of her. So very good.
You're really
Very
look
good.
so down, huh?
But I actually instigate her to learn. I use some adjective that she really didn't like to hear. And Mom heard, and then straight away, Mom went to on form on steroids, learn so many things as steps in one day.
What
What was it? I know. We cannot say it.
It's a funny charades game.
Good one.
So okay, that's a good progress. Before we close it off and everything, I just wanted to, I don't know whether you wanted to continue talking about it. If you all have inspiration to talk about it, we can talk about it. If not, we can just end the session whenever. The ones you're talking about, the Generation Z sucks. No, Millennial sucks, which is us actually. I was listening to recently BFM somehow, right? All these podcasts, right? The issues we talk about, right?
You
They talk about it after that, you know? It pops up, you know? No, they just popped up recently. They just started
copy
talking
us,
about
ah.
it. I don't know lah. Like they were talking about how the millennial generation are emotionally weaker, that kind of thing, right? Recently, BFM also talked about it. They
Okay.
talk about the other than tangping has been around from China a long time already. But now there's I don't know what they call it lah. Basically, the new generation just want to take the path of least resistance. That they don't want to fight so hard. They don't want to work so hard because they feel like their parents, our generation, like mom and dad's generation, they work so hard to earn money, to sustain, you know, a lot of stress at work and everything. Now the people just like, it's not worth it. I'm not gonna go through that emotional stress to do what our previous generation did, regardless of what people say. So the BFM talked about it. They got people, few callers called it and everything, and they got a lot of different views. And I felt that, like what we said previous episode, which we'll release as well, is that I think we have to admit that our generation faced different forms of stress than their generation, right? Like it was easier for their generation to buy houses. They had more purchasing power. We can't. Even as professionals, we can, but we cannot buy the kind of houses they could afford last time. So people are thinking, screw it lah. Why for lah, you know? So I don't know whether they will regret it down the line, 20, 30 years later, when they don't own a house, they're still renting, including myself, I'm still renting a new place as well. Whether we'll regret it, that remains to be seen. But I think that this discussion is ongoing. A lot of people are talking about it and all that kind of thing. I was also reading a book because which is called the Millionaire Fast Lane. It's not that I'm trying to be a millionaire or everything, but I was just watching some YouTubers and everything, and they recommended this book. And Ali Abdal was recommending this book. I was reading it, and what the author is saying is nothing spectacularly mind blowing. It's just that it makes sense to me in the sense that he was saying that we are working 5 days, solid 5 days out of 7 days in the week. So he's talking about, so this book is Millionaire Fast Lane. Go check it out. It's pretty interesting read so far. I'm finishing it in soon. He's talking about how there are 3 types of he labels 3 types of people, the workforce. First is the millionaires lah. How people can become millionaire. That's the fast lane. Then there's the slow lane lah. The slow lane is what you and I are in, and all of us are actually in this conversation are in. And the third one is the sidewalkers lah. Of course, the sidewalk is people who are the slowest. They live for the day. They spend more than they can afford. You know, have debts and everything, and they don't give a shit. And then they just continue living on that life, chasing, just meeting whatever is needed. Yeah.
Right.
So the second one is us lah, the slow lane people. So what characterizes us is what we do lah. We work hard, get a good degree, get a professional degree, get a solid, stable job, sort of, and then work 9 to 5, most of us, and then Monday to Friday, so that weekends we can enjoy. So it seems that the trade-off has been so ingrained in us to so many generations that we think that that is the only way it is, and that's how we should do to accumulate wealth. But to sacrifice 5 days out of 7 days for 2 days, meager 2 days to relax and enjoy and spend time with people you mean the most to you, it's just not a worthy trade-off, right? Nobody will make that kind of trade. You think about it, right? Logically, no one should make that kind of trade. And that we're all doing this on the presumption that, you know what, we're gonna live frugally, we're gonna save, have savings, so that when we retire, hopefully you can retire a few years earlier than usual, and then we can enjoy it. But that takes into a assumption that take for granted that, you know what, I'm assuming that all of us are gonna live to 80 or 90, and that we're gonna be healthy and we're gonna be able-bodied to enjoy the reaps of it. And by the time we are not even going to be maybe alive at that time, and the savings will just go to the government or our children, and we'll never get to enjoy life at all. So you're saying that most of us are trapped in this thing, and that you have to find ways to upskill yourself to actually get out of this. Yes, you can have a stable job, but you also think that the only way you can actually escape this is not through working for someone else. It's actually through owning businesses, like all these billionaires are. Of course, it might not relate to us, because how are we going to make businesses and everything? But it just makes you think about things that when you're doing it at work, is there something, new ideas or something, and just jot it down or whatever, and just try to upskill yourself and think beyond the box of working a 9 to 5 job, that kind of thing. But I'm not asking you to quit a job. Neither am I going to quit my job, because I love my job, the nature of it. I just hate the fact that I'm dependent on it financially to survive. I hate it, right? Because if I had 10 million pounds in the bank right now, I was telling mom and dad, I would still be a doctor. I would still want to specialize, because I love doing, it's my passion. I want to do scopes. I want to do all that kind of thing. But I want to do it on my terms. I want to work maybe 4 days a week. I want to have 3 days off. I want to go traveling when I can. That's what the wealth is, right? It's not a significant number. It's not a definite number that people want. It's just the independence that we want. So anyhow, I don't go on further. Let's just recap of my what's going on in my life, and what am I reading about, and what am I thinking about. Yeah.
Actually, basically, nothing is enough. Somehow, money makes money. You need to invest a diverse portfolio. Then, end of the day, let the money roll for you. If you invest in one property, two properties, three properties, then later on in life, even though you don't want to work until retirement age, then this property, etc., because inflation is catching up so fast, you need to invest in property. Then, end of the day, when you reach a certain age, I got 4, 5, 6 properties, etc. So money makes money. It's always not enough. Example, when I was working in my working life, we invested in a few property. At the time, we were making ends meet. We were paying for this mortgage and paying for that mortgage, etc. Right? But then later on, because of the scarcity of land and the shooting up of prices of houses, etc., it will never be enough one. Last time the houses were what, 200,000, 300,000. You can get one house already. Example, or one apartment. But then again, earning was only about 1,008 per month, 2,000 plus a month only. But now the earnings, the capacity of earning is more, then the houses prices goes up more. You know what I mean? Nothing is ever enough. If you say that, for example, amount of money you earn now, you can afford to buy houses. Last time also we can afford to buy houses, but we take the leap of faith, and we just borrow the money from the bank. We just invest, we pay mortgage. End of the day, instead of paying rental, you pay installment, and end of the day, the property is yours. Same concept, but of course the dollar value is different. Yeah.
I can't quote specific studies, but there are proven studies and research that they quote on the news at least. It's not just like that. It's not. It's also that, for example, a middle grade job, like an entry job, managerial job, or whatever, during your time, you can afford to pay for installment for a landed house, rare and everything, given the area. But now, given the same entry level job, same qualifications, same job specification, that salary increase is not enough to meet that increase in the property. The inflation, it doesn't match. The salary hike doesn't match the inflation rate. So they're saying that that's why people are feeling less purchasing power and everything.
That is true. But for certain people, in terms of professionals, earning capacity is higher, then that gap is smaller. But however, if you say that the person goes in with a general degree, comes in, become a officer or non-professional, is earning 2,000 plus 3,000 a month is different. But if your earning capacity now is at your age against vis-a-vis another colleague of yours which is having an unprofessional degree, getting half the salary you're getting now, then the gap is much wider. You know what I mean trying to say? No?
Yeah,
You don't get it.
well,
Let's say, for example, an engineer. An
I
engineer,
get
for
it. Yeah.
example, you know what I mean? An engineer may get 3,000 a month, but then again, he has to pay through his nose. Last time, an engineer gets 1,008 a month only. But then, of course, the price of houses, the inflation rate has caught up much more than his earning. La. So the purchasing power has indeed gone down. La. But if you compare position, same position and same position, of course, then it's very difficult. But then again, if you compare people of a different earning capacity, there's earning, for example, twice the salary wage of a wage earner, a professional like lawyer, a doctor, or professional consultant against a normal age earner. That's different. You know what I'm trying to say?
but I think what Coco is saying that even if you compare apples to apples, the inflation and the cost of living still doesn't, that increase doesn't commensurate with the increase in wages. So there's
Oh, definitely. That I agree.
Yeah, so you can't compare like different classes of professional jobs, but different. So I
but
think
fair thing to take into account, to put in the discussion, because our generation, that when it comes to supply and demand of professionals, it's different as well, because the supply of university graduates, the supply of graduates with professional degree is so much, because thankfully for the previous generation, they've done so well that most of the children gets to, whether it's local or overseas, most people get a degree.
Tak Lui lah punya degree.
watching Keluar Sekejap, Kyrie and Sharia, and they were in UCSI lah. So they were talking about this issue as well, about the university degrees and everything, and there was also another podcast as well that actually nowadays, like apparently lah, from what I quote there during the discussion, they say that in SPM, right, that level, right, only 20% are entering STEM, science, So there's less people going to science because science is not lucrative, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. Everybody has a degree, so nowadays, because botak lui, supply is more than demand. Problem is that people are thinking, what for? I spend so much money on the degree, study so much, for example, medicine, and come out and earn this kind of peanut pay when I invested so much in education. That's one. And it's in debt in student loans. Second thing is that you see a lot of gig economy. A lot of people don't even want to go to university. People after experience just stop because I can go and do Grab, I can go and do other things, control my own flexible time and everything, and then can earn probably as much as a fresh grad or maybe even more. So long term, I don't know whether it will affect them because I don't know whether you can do gig economy forever until you're old. That's the issue.
Then the president of the medical society or what in Malaysia, the Malay lady, she urged you, Mara got that to open up to non-Malays for special training.
Not the whole thing, it's just cardiothoracic. So the prof who asked to open to it, Prof Raja Amin, he used to be our lecturer in cardiothoracic. We went over there. He's the one who asked to, I think if I'm not mistaken, suggest to open, but obviously that is a contentious issue. Our country still has its whole lot of all this problem that they refuse to. So that is a whole different topic lah.
University Islam memang open to non-Malays, non-Bumis.
No.
Kamwa is under University Islam.
Oh, no. Oh, wait. University Islam Antarabangsa, UIA is different. UITM is solely for Bumi Putras. We're going to wrap it up. So I think we have a lot of issues to talk about in the next few podcasts. I think about education, I think still a lot about university, gig economy, about kind of stuff. That one later lah. That one we can talk about in future episodes. So I think it's a good session that we had today, that we talk about Mother's Day, and we'll talk about generation.
No, but I just want to add one more thing, and it's related to our mother-daughter relationship. But as a wrap, I think for me, the takeaway of our experience, especially in the past few years and how our relationship has changed, it's a cliche, but it always comes down to communication. Even for a mother-daughter pair that's as close as us, in the past few years, I think I've struggled with communicating some of the things that I should have communicated, which perhaps would have expedited that process of us finding that equilibrium, finding a more balanced closeness that's more sustainable. But I struggle. There are times that I felt so guilty. I felt that I'm constantly guilty for not being as close. I feel guilty for not spending as much time. But at the same time, I wasn't capable of doing certain things. I didn't have the emotional bandwidth to be as close, to share as much, to open up when I was going through very, very stressful times. So all of that could have been better if I could have shared more at the time. But again, it compounds. If you're constantly feeling guilty, you're constantly blaming yourself for all kind of things,
But
you
don't
get
have to feel
even
guilty,
more. Yeah, but I did. So if I knew that you would understand, which I guess to a certain extent I did, but I had a lot of self-imposed guilt. So if I process that a bit more and share that a bit more with you, and then we could have cleared it.
process it need
Yeah,
mental energy. So no need now. Don't worry.
because no, I think no. I think Rooney has a good point. Because I think you two let it build up over weeks, after that eruption, you all let it build up weeks, So I think it's always good to nip it in the bud. I think it worked for me and Denise as well. So we always nip it in the bud. We don't let it fester. One. So like if there's something I'm unhappy about housework or whatever, like, I feel like we are not doing enough or whatever, we always just mention, hey, you know what? I think this is building up already. Let's just sit down and talk about this now. Let's be a bit unhappy about it, but it's fine. Let's just talk about it objectively, and then like a board meeting, a discussion, and that how should we go about it? What's the solution to it?
But if she doesn't want to talk about it, it's okay or not?
That's the thing. That's
no,
why I think
she has no obligation that I must to you about it, right?
No, but I think the point is,
But
if we are not talking about it and everything else is fine, it's okay.
ah
When we know there's underlying issues, that one
yes,
cannot be festered for too long.
because when she actually eventually she poured out, it became quite emotional, and you also became emotional because it festered too long already for your that argument itself lah. So I think you also got defensive. Both sides got defensive and activity in it.
So I think the key word is it has festered too long and it has been
Yes.
bottled up since Chinese New Year or something. And both parties were
Mm.
surprised at each other that it has been festering so
Yes.
long. So that is the
For-
crux of the whole thing.
So for me, when I saw the situation as an outsider in that problem particularly, I saw it objectively. I could see that there was a mismatch between what mom was wanting, because I hear her story and then I hear her story separately with then I can see that actually it's both, like what I said, it's both language of love. It's just different languages of love, which is a mismatch of language of love, and that caused a conflict ironically. Because you
Wow.
are so close, ironically, you all got into conflict. That's the irony of it, lah. That's
Wow, new term I hear already. Language of love.
Yeah, love language.
So essentially, to me, it comes down to communicating. And I accept that there are times that not every day you're in that mood or you have the mental capacity to sit down, okay, I process it, and then I tell you. Even if we don't have that, we need to communicate it. At least you know that, okay, we understand that there is some issues. We haven't fully figured out what the issues are, but at least if there's communication, and at least we know that, okay, we're going to give each other a bit of time to process it, and then we're going to come back and we'll talk about it. At least we deal with it. The more you don't deal with it, the more there's room for doubts, then more room for negativity, and then everything gets compounded until eventually implodes.
So, Dad, Mom, anyone wants to add anything about this Mother's Day special episode? And also, to update you about news. So, fertility rate in everywhere in Asia is falling rapidly. Malaysia also. So, especially among certain races, for example, Chinese Indians, it's actually fallen below the necessary rate to maintain the population. But everywhere, like even in Korea, Japan, is very bad. That there's a whole new topic we should talk about, because that's what is trending now, which is actually not we're not talking about it because trending, because it's relevant, and we can discuss about why fertility rates start dropping. But I think have a good discussion, and let's wrap it and end it. So what I learned out of this is that, Mom, you need to communicate more with your son, and
Kept quiet.
both sides.
She's the one who kept quiet for so long. So I can't catch up her. What? I don't want to dig. When she doesn't feel like talking, I shouldn't be propping. What?
Yeah, but yes, correct, but you shouldn't also harbor negativity, but you did. Because she didn't want to share things, you had some expectation that time. You felt a bit hurt. So that was the problem, which you all have already acknowledged after discussion, and you all know where the problem is. So you all have readjusted your expectations of the relationship, not labeling it as, oh, we're less close. So you all know that, we're still close, it's just a different way. So I think for me, that is the takeaway, and you all moved on better from it.
Okay.
Okay, like for example, like Anthony Lok and Wee Ka Siong, they also have love language. They have different love language for each other, but they can actually is still love between them. So I urge you, Anthony, and also Dato Sri Wee, if you're listening, you need to listen and subscribe to our podcast. It's gonna help your relationship also.
I read my article.